Welcome, everyone. This is the Your Little Castle live streaming show. Our show normally airs every Thursday on ABC. We do interludes with some live streams, web streams, what do you want to call them. But the stuff we do on the internet, we've started doing this stuff because now we've developed our portable studio. We've got two 4K cameras, and we're sitting in my lower level of our main office studio right now, where we can do these things live from just about anywhere. All powered off one laptop. I'll show you guys that later at some point probably. And with two cameras. And now we can do live streams with guests remotely, and as we've done in the past, but on our portable super duper computer. We just upgraded this. A lot of people do know I am a techie nerd by trade. So we went from 16 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes. Pulled the 12 screws off the back of the laptop and took out the two 8 gigs and put in two 32 gigs. Amazing how inexpensive those are now these days. $135. But now this thing is really streaming smoothly, and with our new mixer and all the other fun. So with that, I'm going to bring Sam Sumati. Sam is the St. Louis sports guru with that. So I'll split the screen with Sam right now. Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on, Carter.
Yeah, well, you and I have been buddies for years now, and when it comes down to it, there are very few people I know who know sports as well as you do. So we wanted to bring you on because we know that St. Louis is a major sports city, if you will, right? Because now, and we're going to talk about just about all of it, if it's cool with you. We'll talk about the city, St. Louis City, soccer. We're going to talk about the St. Louis Blues. We're going to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals, and we're going to talk about the St. Louis Battlehawks. So, Sam, with that, who do you think we should start talking about first as we get involved here?
I'm kind of partial to the Battlehawks at the moment. Maybe
All right,
I'm
let's
just
dig
riding
into
the
the
wave.
Battlehawks a little bit. You and I have been to a number of the games. You and I both attended together each of the home openers for the last 2 seasons they've
Yep.
been in business. Tell us where they stand right now, a little bit about this exciting game we had last week, if you would.
So at the moment, the Battlehawks are standing at 6-2, which is second place, sole second place in the North Division. That is one game behind the DC Defenders and one game ahead of the Seattle Sea Dragons, which is pivotal. It's very important because we are currently in the last playoff position.
Well, that's exciting.
So
So
last
yeah, my
week we played the
audio
Tampa
kicked in
Bay
there for a
Vipers.
second as I'm checking us. We are streaming this live on the Cardinal Cowboy fan page. We've got about 7 million viewers, I think, or somewhere in that ballpark, if I'm reading the bits and data correctly here. But we do enjoy bringing the excitement that St. Louis brings with their sports scene, and it's kind of unique because it does allow just pretty much everybody comes together to enjoy all 4 of the sports we've talked about. The Battlehawks, as we continue to talk about them, obviously pretty exciting what they're doing because they're in position to make the playoffs. Now, is this their second season? The first season did get cut short. Was that their first season, right?
The first season we ended 3-2, so we only got through half the season. It's a 10-game season. We only got through 5 games. This time we're 80% of the way through, so we're basically 6-2. We have a 1-game advantage to be in the playoffs. Sunday is a big one. Sunday is the most important game in the short history of the Battlehawks. We're 6-2. Seattle Sea Dragons are 5-3. They're coming here to the Battle Dome, and if we win that game, we're going to the playoffs for the first time.
Well, that'll be exciting because whenever you get a playoff contender at whatever level that is, at a professional level, it's pumping up everything about St. Louis. And St. Louis has got to be especially excited because they're putting 30, 35, almost 40,000 people in the seats there. Tell us a little bit about how they're packing the house and the excitement you felt. You and I got to do a little pregame before the game at the at the home opener. Tell me a little bit about what you felt was going on there.
Felt a lot of old vibes, old great going to Rams games with family and friends over the years since 1995 till they departed in 2015. Just got to say, it brought up a lot of old memories, feelings, excitement. It's kind of one of those must-have tickets in St. Louis right now. Like St. Louis has broken all the attendance records in the XFL 3 weeks in a row. Like you said, we've had 33 to 35 plus thousand every game. What would be really exciting is if we are able to beat Seattle this weekend, beat Orlando in the final game, and hopefully DC loses a game or two. If we are somehow able to host a playoff game, mark my words, we will sell out the Battle Dome. We will sell out all 66,000 tickets.
Well, how do you expect the team to respond to something like that when you get into a situation where you've got a stadium filled with, we're talking 60, 70,000 people? What's the capacity for the dome? Isn't it about 75,000?
66,000.
Okay, I thought maybe we got in the
66.
70s. Okay. Sam's, like I said, that's why we call Sam. I'm going to put his title back up here. Sam is the STL sports guru. There are very few people that I know who know more about sports than Sam. So tell us about how you think that's going to impact St. Louis, and let's talk a little bit about the potential, as a lot of people are speculating, because some of these teams do have NFL teams. Some of these other cities, we know DC has the Redskins, right? Or now
Yep.
they're called the Washington Football Team, I guess. Up in
The
Seattle,
Commanders at the moment. They're the
they've got
Commanders.
Seahawks. I'm sorry, what was that?
Yep. The Commanders are in Washington. But
Right.
yes, the Sea Dragons, the Seahawks are in Seattle. Houston has the Texans. But other than that, all the other markets, I believe, are just non-NFL markets. So
And
that's a big
so,
deal.
good.
That's a big deal. If it were me running the league, if I could talk to The Rock or his wife, Danny Garcia, personally, I would go step up another level next year and put a team in Oakland and put a team in San Diego. The only reason I say that is because those are starved football fans, and they also had their NFL franchises ripped away whenever they did not deserve it. I think those markets wouldn't do as good as St. Louis, but I think they do better than all the other XFL markets.
Okay. So we're talking about it now. I mean, it's a matter of how often the teams have put that kind of a crowd in the XFL in front of such a large audience to really bring up what we've got there. I mean, the response has been incredible. My point being, do we deserve an NFL team again, and are we helping to demonstrate that now?
Oh, well, 1,000%. That's a unanimous vote. I don't think there's anybody that could disagree. And if they actually did the research, I'm very, very convinced. And if the NFL actually did pay attention or care, there's 100% great reason that they should invest in this market again. Because I know for a fact we crossed all our T's, dotted all of our I's. We had a stadium plan, and our city has fans that just come out and support the team regardless of what's going on. We just love our football. We love our sports in general.
Well, and rightfully so. We have a city that is just mega sports, especially when you talk about the history. You go back, well, as the cities that we have didn't expand much beyond the St. Louis was the furthest west city in most of the sports world up until what was that, mid 1800, late 1800s, early 1900s. I guess you had to go early 1900s, obviously, but it ended here. Now with that expansion west, you see some of the more excitement out there. But St. Louis really was one of the mega cities back in the day. We're seeming to maintain a population. We've got about 3 million people who live here. And so, what are the odds that with the audience that we have, that we can get another NFL team that we can support? Because they argue, and then they argue that LA didn't have enough to support a team, and now they've got two, right? But
And
so they argue that
they
so
don't
many people.
support
What's that?
them. They don't support them.
And they don't support them. Yeah, please talk about that
Correct.
for us.
There's just too much to do in Los Angeles. They got their new fancy stadium, Sophie Stadium. Like they've got two teams sharing it. The Chargers are being supported even less than the Rams, and the Rams aren't even being that supported, even though they just won a Super Bowl recently. So clearly it was a money grab by Stan Kroenke, of course. No matter what, he's making his money. He has no regrets. Um, one day maybe he'll look in the mirror. I doubt it, but at this point in time, I mean, it's clear to anybody that has a relative heartbeat that he made a mistake, other than his bank account.
Well, there are those who argue that that may be all that he cares about because just by virtue of moving to LA, and I can write that off as a matter of it's a business decision really, because when you're up to gain double the value of your team, then it's pretty clear that the business side of that might be all that is that you're really interested in, because that's a hard. If you're just looking at financial perspective, doubling the value. And I'm not talking about going from 2 million to 4 million. I'm talking about going from 2 billion to 4 billion or 2.1. Now they're saying 3.6, somewhere in there, but almost doubling. Is there anybody here that wouldn't want an extra couple $1 billion in their bank account in terms of their overall value? And that from that perspective, that's where I think he did it. To be the kind of the converse of that is, how much money do you need, right? Is 2 billion
Yeah,
not enough?
thank you. That's what I was thinking. Yep.
And so, how do you feel like you contribute back to this little planet? And if you just want to be the guy that's famous for having a football team in the one of the largest cities in the world, great. But you want to talk about really impacting a city and a region. Boy, when St. Louis had the Rams, they really had a lot of excitement here. And it seems to have dissipated because of the same argument they made in the past, which is that the Rams in LA don't get enough support because there's so many other things that they do in LA, beaches and sun and surfing and all that fun stuff. We got a little bit of that here,
And
but
his
man, we are
million
just
sports
diehard
team.
sports fans.
Right.
Comment on that for me if you would.
Absolutely. First off, I know you brought up the thing about NFL possibly, coming back to St. Louis. I would love to see it more than anybody. Um, I don't think they're ever going to get us a chance based on the fact that there was a lawsuit against him and the NFL. We won it. We're probably not on their best in their best graces at the moment. So I would love to see it. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But who knows? Stranger things have happened. And then as far as the market goes out there, like, I mean, obviously it was strictly a business decision. Guy doesn't really have much of a soul. He's just a money grabber, and that's fine. It's whatever. Most of us can't relate to that because we actually do care more about people and how our decisions affect people, especially on that level. But some people don't understand that.
Tell me more why you feel that.
I was born and raised here, and when I was a kid growing up, I never did go to a St. Louis Cardinal NFL game. But I did collect football cards. I watched the games on TV with like my grandpa, some of my family. So I was born into it, and then Cardinals moved. I think because we couldn't get a stadium plan downtown, and then so I still was an NFL fan, but while we didn't have a local team, I rooted for the Chiefs and 49ers until we got the Rams. And then I was all in on the Rams immediately. I went to a game the first season, the excitement, the sellouts, the tailgating, all the memories you build with family and friends. It's just priceless. Period. I mean, those are memories. Nobody can take those away from you. And no matter what happens, you've got them forever. And that means the most.
Well said. So, I mean, a lot we could spend talking about the uh, Battlehawks because you and I both have a strong affinity for football. A lot of people know, but many people may not know. I did play professionally indoor, kicking for the Missouri Monsters. I kicked for the Bulldogs, and I kicked for the Cyclones. All were national champions and Midwest and regional champions at the semi-pro or minor league level. And it was just exciting to play with a bunch of guys like Zach Abram, naming just one guy off the top of my head, who played with the Bears, who had some NFL exposure, was one of the leading running backs in the history of Mizzou. I think is second now on the list with the most touchdowns scored. But St. Louis has a rich football history. And somebody like myself, I stood there on the sidelines and watched quite a bit until it was my time to kick. And I've got a career 50-plus yard field goals, which was fun. But seeing those guys really go at it, and so many of those athletes from St. Louis, don't we have a long, strong background with some excellent football players coming out of St. Louis, and some of them stay in St. Louis, some of them go away to college, but some of them play professionally in St. Louis, and a lot of them play professionally around the country. If you will touch on that just a little bit.
Absolutely. I went to high school with Zach Abram at Francis Howell. I didn't
Right.
know him personally. I think he was two grades below me. But yeah, he went to Mizzou. I remember following his career a little bit. But there's been a lot of guys that have come out of the St. Louis area that are studs. Whether they went to Mizzou or elsewhere, made it big in the NFL. You think about it, you got Justin Smith, Brad Smith, to name a couple that come to mind. Blaine Gabbert, who was from Parkway West, went to Mizzou. Um, there's quite a few other ones like Denario Alexander. There's just so many. Kind of stumbling to try to remember some other ones, but there's a lot of guys, even if they maybe weren't from like St. Louis, at least they went to Mizzou. And Mizzou's had a ton of draft picks, a zillion draft picks that are successful in NFL. I don't know what else to say about that, but tons of talent have come out of St. Louis. That's for sure.
No, so that's why I say when you add it all up, there's a good reason for St. Louis to be a strong contender for a powerful Battlehawks team. But we always keep talking about the NFL can get past whatever and realize when it's just a matter of revenue that can be generated by fans that are going to attend, St. Louis should be in that top 30 mix. Would you agree?
At least. At least. I mean, you're totally right. If they are paying attention, if they're taking note, if they're doing their due diligence, if they're smart, they should take a chance on us.
Good. All right.
We
Well,
won't
let's finish
succeed.
up that discussion as we go on a little bit to talk a little bit more about the other excitement we've got in St. Louis. And boy, Sam, what do you think about this new St. Louis soccer team, this St. Louis City? I mean, you talk about bringing a ton of excitement to St. Louis all at once. I'm a big fan of the Ambush. Know the owner there personally. Shelley's great. They bring a real excitement. It's kind of kept the whole soccer thing kind of going here in St. Louis. But as it came down to it, this whole launch of the St. Louis City soccer team playing an outdoor stadium that they just built downtown. I mean, how awesome is that? And how cool is all of that they've put together? Because St. Louis has been kind of a soccer mecca for years. If you really analyze the history of soccer in America, and the world's the greatest game of all, there was a movie about that, essentially, where when we beat England 1-0 in the World Cup, right? And so as you continue to analyze St. Louis background with regard to soccer, it's almost kind of shocking that they didn't bring an MLS team here when they launched the league some 20 years ago. So let's talk a little bit about the MLS and how that's going here with what we're doing. What do you think about that, Sam?
Great points. Where do I start? Yeah, soccer is a hotbed here because of St. Louis University Billikens have always produced national talents, international talents. If my knowledge is correct, I believe we had 4 United States players from that 1950 World Cup victory team over England that were all from St. Louis. That's crazy. The United States is a big country. So to get 4 from a city, especially not a humongous city, that's unprecedented. It'll never happen again. So that's a big one. I'm excited about I'm excited about everything about it. We're selling out every game. Team started out with a historical performance with 5 wins, no losses. We've lost our last 2. We will rebound at some point. I'm all in. Like I've never really followed MLS. As soon as I found out we were getting a soccer team, I started paying attention to the teams, the standings, the rules. Now I'm starting to watch the games. I've got an MLS season pass. I've talked to some people who went to the games. And I've driven by the stadium. It looks amazing, looks beautiful. We're now hosting a Gold Cup coming up. And yeah, it's a huge time for our city. And it's pretty cool that the Battlehawks came back the same year that the St. Louis City SC started.
Well said, because it was for a long time that there were so many people that didn't think St. Louis deserved a city. But somebody who grew up playing soccer, myself, played in high school, played in college. I played with Sorber, Santel, McBride over at St. Louis U and over in the spring season there when I walked on. And I got in that funny years later, a buddy of mine who tried out, Mike Beatty, I'll never forget, Mike came up to me years later. He goes, Cowboy, you're the only guy that walked on there that should have made that team. They ended up going to the semifinal, losing to Virginia and Claudio Reyna. That was the last time the St. Louis U soccer team was really good years ago. We're talking 1993, 94, and 92. And until recently, they've ramped it up again, bringing back some really good soccer here and to get ranked in the top 25 again, and really putting it on with regard to having a good Division I St. Louis University soccer team. And I think you make a good point. That's kind of where a lot of what stems from the excitement you get with St. Louis kind of being a soccer mecca, if you will, a city that thrives on soccer, is because, again, when the whole country hadn't gone much further west than St. Louis, as far west as you got, we had a lot of open fields here. We had some guys that my dad talked about it as a college admissions counselor that worked with the soccer players, soccer coaches. Soccer's a real inexpensive sport to put on because you can just put up a couple goalposts, give everybody a uniform, shirt and shorts, and maybe some shin guards, throw a soccer ball out on the field, and now you've got a soccer team. And so it really grew dramatically within the Midwest, especially here in the United States, and in St. Louis area, I should say. Because of that, I guess, just an opportunity to get a sport out there for the kids to play. And a lot of people that immigrated from Germany and France and all the other countries that love soccer. So St. Louis became kind of a mecca. And it was just kind of shocking, like as we mentioned prior, if the people are just tuning in, that we only had an MLS team now 20 years after the league started. And so here we are. What do you expect from this team? Sorry, Sam, you were talking there. Go ahead. What do you expect from this team?
First of all, you're right. We should have been like one of the founding franchises, like the Battlehawks were for the XFL. Yeah, the league's been around since '95. Like, why are we the 29th team? No idea. Should have been a top 5 team, top 10 team at least. Who knows? This team though, now we have playoff aspirations at this point. Nobody expected us to go 5-0. Now we're 5-2. Okay, we've been humbled a little bit. We've got to re-strategize. Like, I'm not a humongous soccer expert, but I'm learning as I go, and I'm really reading a lot of things. I'm listening to interviews. I'm watching games. I'm uh, I'm listening to people breaking it down on ESPN radio, and what it sounds like is the schedule just got a lot tougher all of a sudden, and that's to be expected in any sport, any league. Um, it's to the point now where maybe Plan A doesn't work against the superior teams, and that's fine. Plan B, we got to come up with some different strategies, just like the Blues. You know, when they're not forechecking, Berube comes up with plans. Um, just like with the Cardinals, Marmal comes up with plans as far as like hitting and defense and pitching changes. So it's all full circle when it comes to sports. Sometimes you have the talent, maybe you're lacking a little bit, but you can make up for that with coaching decisions.
Yeah, that's where you get into a lot of people do understand that if you understand your talent, the players you have on your squad, and the best tools that they offered. So they kind of figured that out with Marshall Falk back in the day. Would you agree? Understand that he was a pretty good running back, but he was a real good short power runner if you gave him a slant or gave him a lateral. Because if you expect him to just bull his way through the line, he wasn't that kind of runner. But if you give him some room and give him a little space and those short passes, those quick slants, little bitty touch passes, man, he could just get loose and run for big yardage. And really, that's where the Rams really accelerated with a quarterback like Kurt Warner. Is that what you think might happen with regard to some of the same strategy with your soccer players now? And they get to learn a little bit how each other plays, and the coach has to do that. I think Berube had done that with the Blues when they won the Stanley Cup. Is that what you're saying we need to see from St. Louis City. And we have seen
Absolutely.
it.
Coach Bradley Cornell. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I know he has a big background. He's very qualified for the job, and from what I've seen and heard, he's very successful in this short time here. I have confidence that they're going to make adjustments accordingly. I mean, two shutouts in a row. They call them clean sheets. That's. I mean, we had two clean sheets versus our opponents. Now we've been shut out two times in a row. So there's going to be a lot of. I think there's going to be a lot of shakeup at practice at City Park, and I'm excited to see what they come out and do against FC Cincinnati coming up here this weekend.
Well said. And it's very important for everybody to understand that there's a long season with regard to soccer, and there are a lot of games to be played. Overall, where they're at right now, plenty of time to get this sorted out. But it's starting off 5-0. Even if they were to go 5-5 the first 10 games, nobody would be too shocked or disappointed with that, because in this league, to get 5-5 your first year in the league, it'd be dynamite. I don't think they're lowering their expectations to that. I think they expected the first 10 games they might go 7-3. And boy, who would have said, wow, after a first 10 games going 7-3 of the new team in a very competitive MLS league, that would be exciting. That would be awesome. Would you agree?
That's a success.
Cool. Well, as we move on here, let's talk a little bit more about the other excitement we have in our league, excitement for the leagues that we have here in St. Louis, and that includes our St. Louis Blues. So, because we're going to finish up with the Cardinals, for all of you who love the Cardinals, that's our mainstay. That's what the Cowboy here endears the most. But we do talk about all the other sports, and the Blues just finishing up their season. Talk a little bit about how this season went and what you think they have to look forward to as they kind of rebuild a little bit for next year.
So this is one of those rare sour seasons for Blues hockey. We always talk about the Cardinal way. Well, I think there's a Blues way. It's been established. The culture's been established. The leadership, the coaching, everything that starts with the owner all the way down to the front office, all the way down to the minor leagues, the drafting, the development. We have a very good franchise. Don't get me wrong with the Blues. It's just been an off year. It happens from time to time. Stanley Cup window is only open for so many years for any team. Doesn't matter who you are. We're seeing that this year. Penguins are getting old. Capitals are getting old. Those dynasties or successful reigns are coming to a close. So it's happened with our Blues. We've had to make some hard decisions. Trade away the captain O'Reilly. We trade away Barbashev, Tarasenko, who's going to be a Blues Hall of Famer for sure, easily. But we had to do that. I don't think it's one of those things where it's going to be like those Chicago Blackhawks teams that just were terrible and picked like top 3 for like a few years in a row, like they're doing now still. It's not going to be that bad. It's more like a reset, a reboot. And by the way, we made some great moves. In doing so, we picked up Kasperi Kapanen off waivers. He's a second. Most people don't know he's a second generation NHL player. His dad, Sammy Kapanen, was very successful with the Hurricanes back in the day. We picked up Sammy Blais, who's in his second stint with the Blues, and for some reason he plays amazing here. He played terrible with the Rangers. And then you got Jacob, a.k.a. Jakub Vrana, who was the 13th overall pick by the Capitals, who was a disappointment, but he did win a Stanley Cup with them the year before the Blues won the Cup. And he's had some success. He's played with Detroit as well. He's scored 25 goals a couple times, and he's a speed demon. He's scored quite a few goals with us already. So those 3 guys are exciting already. Who knows what's going to happen? Doug Armstrong probably has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. We have 3 first-round draft picks, a bunch of other draft picks, and maybe we trade 1 or 2 off and get a proven player. We don't have a whole lot of salary cap room, but I believe in Doug Armstrong. He's brought a cup to the Dallas Stars. He's brought a cup to the St. Louis Blues, and we'll see what's shaking.
Well, great feedback, great insight, and I know that's why we have you kind of lead our sports broadcast, Sam. So you guys are listening to Sam Samadi, the STL Sports Guru. You can check him out at stlsportsguru.com. Thank you, Sam, for bringing that great insight. So now let's talk a little bit more about the excitement we have with regard to our St. Louis Cardinals. And you kind of brought up the conversation earlier today. You sent me a text. Cardinals lost another one today, and a little disheartening with the start they have this year. You kind of feel like they've got it. They did well in spring training. I always knew that starting pitching was going to kind of be a question mark, but really it's a matter of how are we going to get through some of these ups and downs. And if you got your pitching is not pulling it, it doesn't really matter how good your hitting is. And so the Cardinals have been doing a great job hitting for some good offense. Many of the games, a couple games not as much, but it is something that when you get down to studying this overall team, again, the overall perspective, I think the weakness we saw was going to be the starting pitching. And they don't really have an ace per se, like they have always kind of had, either with Waino or Flaherty most recently. When they came back from their spring training, Mikolas ends up the home start, and a lot of people don't feel he's a good ace number one pitcher. Before we get into that, I want to give a shout out, remind everybody, this is the Your Little Castle live streaming show. We do put this on periodically. We're testing out our new equipment here. We did an upgrade, got our new mixer, we got our new 4K cameras. We can put on this show at any location, anywhere you like, all over the country, all over the Midwest. Sam is actually another part of St. Charles right now. I'm in another part of St. Charles, one of our studios. And we can do these live streams wherever. Our show does air every Thursday night on ABC. So this is airing on ABC Weekly. This is essentially a little promo about that show to say, hey, check us out. This is a fun show where we highlight all the leaders in our community. And with that, we go right back into the discussion about the Cardinals. Because when you get a team like that that really does historically incredibly well, if you average out how often the Cardinals have been in the playoffs over the last 20-so years, since they were essentially, when the DeWitts took over, they've done a great job. And so to start off at what are they, 3-7 now? Is the record now? Are they 3-6? Then that's disappointing. But there's 162 games to be played, right? So I would expect they're going to do something to address this. Does that mean a big trade or something early on? How do they get themselves out of this funk? Or do you think it's something else at our core, Sam? Please tell us a little bit about what you see as the real issue as we just get the season started.
If I just had to just throw something out there, it might be maybe a little bit of lack of team camaraderie. Not to say there's a problem in the clubhouse, but you got to think 17 Cardinals were in the World Baseball Classic playing amongst 20 teams. I mean, maybe not all 20 teams, not all 20 countries, but you had 4 Cardinals on USA, you had Cardinals all over the place, Japan, Mexico, a bunch of different countries. So depending on how long they were away from the team, even though the team was doing well in spring training, you still are putting a lot of pieces of the puzzle together a little bit later than a lot of other teams. So that's the biggest thing for me. I also definitely agree with the starting pitching. We don't have an ace. You could also argue we may not even have a number 2. We may just have a bunch of number 3s and 4s. So we should have addressed the getting an ace in the offseason. And hopefully we should be in contention at the trade deadline. That needs to be a number 1. Top guy in the market. I'd say everybody's untouchable as far as guys that are in the minors other than Mason Wynn. So yeah, I mean, that's got to be front and central. We got to do that. As you know, there was a little bit of an issue between Marmol and O'Neill. So O'Neill could be on the chopping block. I mean, we've seen it with Randy Arozarena when he leaked his video of Mike Schultz hyped up playoff, post-game celebration speech. We've seen it. Can't remember who the other guy was. Bader. Bader did something. Maybe he wasn't hustling or something, just like O'Neill. He got traded. So I don't know if O'Neill's getting traded. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But at some point in time during the season, we're going to have to address the ace issue or lack thereof.
Well, a lot of big issues you bring up there because it does end up being a discussion about it with as much talent as this team has. And again, we're very early in the season, and so you can't get too frustrated. I mean, every once in a while, you don't start off your season like you're going to win the championship. I mean, the other side of that we might make the point that a lot of people do understand is the truth is that the Cardinals are kind of known for sneaking into the playoffs and then winning the World Series, right? We've done that both of the last times we won the World Series. The times when we had the best record at least in the National League, I have to recall back in 2004, if I recall correctly, they had the best record in MLB. And then the Red Sox got really hot. They were down 3-0 against the Yankees. And the Red Sox won 4 in a row against the Yankees to come back. First time, I think, ever that a 7-game series, somebody was down 3-0, and they came back to win that. And then they went on and just won 4 more in a row and swept the Cardinals in the World Series. It was very sad to see the Red Sox celebrating the World Championship on the St. Louis Stadium. But we got rid of that stadium very quickly thereafter because that was 2004. We built our new stadium, and like the Cubs, we've only won 2. Actually, we've won 2 World Series in our new stadium right now. Actually, our new stadium, the Busch 3, I guess is what it is. The Cubs have only won 1 World Series in their new stadium, meaning 100 years in Wrigley. And I did a great fun event. We had a super fan event where I was kind of the main super fan for a group called Metafans. They invited me to join. Your screen just went sideways there, Sam. But they invited me to be part of the Super Bowl party at the Wrigley Field. So that was really neat to be in Wrigley Field's Cardinals club, if you will, but the equivalent of that at Wrigley Field. It's a really decked out area with marble and all the fancy amenities you have at Cardinals. What they call the Cardinals Club behind home plate at Busch Stadium. But man, was that neat to be part of that because wow, there's not so often do you end up getting to get into those kinds of exciting events. Now that was the Super Bowl where we were cheering on the Chiefs, so I was decked out as I often am as Chiefs cowboy. And I've got since I did play football, I still have my football pants, and I put on my my Cardinal cowboy jersey. So we should talk a little Chiefs right now, but the Chiefs really have put it on. They're doing an incredible job of keeping up with the Joneses, if you will. It was a matter of winning 2 Super Bowls here in the last few years, making the playoffs a number of years in a row. And so when you really get down to Missouri football, where we did lose the Rams to move to back to L.A., now we end up with a team that we support. That's the best team in Missouri for sure, the only team you can support that is based out of Missouri with the Rams leaving. But that's our Kansas City Chiefs, who've been around since the inception of the NFL, been to the Super Bowl a number of times early on. They did win 1 Super Bowl a long time when it was first founded, and then but now twice with Andy Reid. And Andy Reid is a former Mizzou lineman coach, if I recall, when he was first getting started as one of the a lot of these guys, they start off obviously coming up wherever they can get a job, start their coaching career, and Andy Reid coached for the Missouri Tigers, and then moved on quickly throughout the ranks and ended up coaching the Philadelphia Eagles. And at whatever point they decided to say, well, Andrew, we love you, but you got to go. They brought in, I forget the new coach they brought in, and there you go, Sam. If you want to turn it sideways, it'll get you back into the view unless you're on. There you go. And then now, I guess, did your battery die? Cool. Sam is back now, so I'm talking a little Chiefs right now, Sam, so I'm going to put you on. Let's talk about the excitement with the Chiefs, the best football team in Missouri, besides the Battlehawks, and probably many people would argue for sure that they're better. Talk a little Chiefs and their excitement. I was talking about how I ended up watching the Super Bowl in Wrigley Field. The whole stadium was shut down, but we got to be on the field and get a tour of Wrigley Field. Classic, famous field. Love being there at Wrigley Field and the excitement there. But talk about that Chiefs Super Bowl victory over the Eagles.
Yeah, I didn't get to really watch much of it. I know it was a big triumphant victory for the state of Missouri, the Show Me State. What is that? 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years.
Right.
So that's incredible. Also, I do know the storyline about Patrick Mahomes was he was pretty injured somewhere in the early playoffs or towards the end of the season. So gutsy performance by him. He's also a Blues fan. I know he showed up with Travis Kelce during the Blue Stanley Cup win in a suite. They were on the Jumbotron, super cool. Also know about the storyline between the Kelsey brothers, Travis playing for Kansas City. Don't know the other guy's name, but he plays for the Eagles. So that was very entertaining.
We'll talk about that a little bit because how impactful is it now as we talked about the Rams leaving St. Louis, and that's something that was very disappointing to all of us. But hey, business is business, and we did what we could to keep them around. This Chiefs team, I know you're a big football fan. How are they doing? I mean, there's argument. I just saw that is it Burrow is a better quarterback? They're arguing than Mahomes. And it's like, well, they may or may not be true, but I can tell you who's won more Super Bowls in the last 3 years. So how do these Chiefs stack up going forward?
Well, I mean, once you build a winner, we've seen it happen in other cities, Pittsburgh, with the Steelers, with Bill Cowher, with Mike Tomlin. We've seen it in New England, unfortunately, with Belichick. We've seen it here and there with other franchises in all the sports. But yeah, I mean, it's a big one to have Andy Reid. He brought a good resume from Philadelphia. So, you keep your guys intact. You keep Andy Reid, you keep Patrick Mahomes, keep Travis Kelce. Every team and franchise goes through all different changes based on business, like we talked about with the Rams, salary cap implications. You got to look forward to, there's going to be injuries. You got to save money here or there, draft picks, development. But overall, you just got to keep your core together. You keep the core together, keep business running smoothly, and you never know. If you get into the dance, you can keep winning. It's a winning culture.
Chiefs did a great job of that. It was really exciting to see them come through and pull off another Super Bowl championship. That Super Bowl was kind of going back and forth. It was some people that thought that the Eagles were going to hold on there, and I was pulling. I had my whole Chiefs get up on, and like I said, I'm a Missouri fan. I'm any team that I actually love the Royals. A lot of people they still have that animosity from back in the '85 World Series, but I'm like, it's okay. We've won 11. It's really exciting to have two of the best baseball teams in the region or in the MLB with regard to now the Chiefs have struggled. I'm sorry, the Royals have struggled recently, but they have been to the playoffs and won and been in a couple World Series and won one not too long ago. You combine that with what the Cardinals has done, really exciting. So I do have to stay focused on the Chiefs here for a minute. I do love our Kansas City Chiefs because they are really bringing some excitement to the Missouri Midwest region and showing, hey, we can win championships here, even if the Cardinals aren't in it, even if the Royals aren't in it, even if the Rams have left. These Chiefs are dominating now. Can they do another dynasty-style extension here, kind of like our beloved, a lot of us still have a burning issue with the Patriots because I got to talk to Mike Martz myself at a charity event and being somebody who played football, and he offered me a tryout years ago with Bobby April as a kicker, and so I knew those guys a little bit, and he told me I won't get into the details, but it was clear there was some cheating going on there, and it's just something that they had to address, and they kind of squashed that, I think, but here we are without an NFL team, and our Chiefs are the team. If you don't mind, Sam, zoom back out or move the camera just a little bit away from you. There you go, right about there, and tilt it down there, right there. And yeah, tell everybody how excited you are about this Chiefs and building that dynasty.
I mean, that's pretty cool. Like I said, growing up, I was a Rams fan, or I was a Cardinals fan in the NFL, but I was pretty young, so I wasn't like diehard. I didn't know the game or anything like that. But as I learned the rules, the Cardinals moved away because of Bill Bidwell. I think he got a great offer in Phoenix or whatever to get a stadium. We didn't provide that from my best knowledge. And then I became a Chiefs fan back in the late 80s, and I was a 49ers fan. Joe Montana, he was my favorite quarterback. Jerry Rice was my favorite wide receiver. And, Joe Montana, if he had to leave the 49ers, well, he made the best decision of his life. He went to the Chiefs, and he brought that championship pedigree over there. They did fall short. They went to AFC championship game, lost to the Bills, I believe it was. And, but yeah, I mean, Kansas City Chiefs have they have a diehard, Chiefs kingdom there. Um, there's no reason to think that, with Mahomes being so young, Andy Reid still being in his prime, Kelsey, et cetera, et cetera. There's no reason to think that this team's going to go away into the night like out of nowhere. I would predict that they'd win at least two more championships and bring that home to the Show Me State.
Well, I like what you're talking about there because I am a strong supporter. I have a good friend, a lot of people are familiar with by the name of Louis Aguiar. So when I was kicking and getting trained to make it, and I did get my shot, played professional indoor and got some NFL tryouts, Louis Aguiar was my kicking coach. A lot of people know he was I believe he was an all-pro kick punter, but he could also kick. And so he worked with me very specifically, went over to a couple of his fields over here in the St. Louis area because he lives in the St. Louis area. I won't say where he lives, but he lives in the St. Louis area. And world-renowned kicker. I mean, one of the best punters in the history of the NFL. And getting to work out with him, he helped me get to that level where I did get paid professionally to kick field goals. And it was just exciting working with somebody like that. Such an outstanding individual and somebody who's been so important to the Chiefs' history. It was great when I went to the Chiefs versus Green Bay Packers a couple years ago. I was texting with him saying, "Hey, man, let's meet up, let's hang out." And he was up in the VIP Chiefs celebrity part of the building. But it was just insane there. You've been to any kind of sporting event, you really need to check out the Chiefs and what they do because that stadium doesn't have a cap on the stadium, right, to keep the sound in. But they still break sound records with the excitement that they bring because there are so many people there making the excitement and their fun be felt with an incredible experience. You get to tailgating before the game, fans all over the place. I mean, it's an all-day event, and I would strongly recommend if you have the opportunity to go to a Chiefs football game in Kansas City. It is a lifetime experience, something that I believe everyone should experience at least just once. And I've got my Chiefs ring that I wear. I don't have it on today, but I did get a Chiefs one of the novelty rings from a connection I have. And I tell you, it's just super exciting now. 2 recent championships and all of what they bring. I think it makes sports super, super exciting for our Midwest region, and we love to see those Chiefs continue to roll. What do you think about that, Sam, as we move on here to talk about our Cardinals? Tell me what you think about, finish up with your last thoughts about the Chiefs there. And tilt your camera down a little bit there. It's a little bit close to you again, sorry. There you go. Down, there you go. All right, good job. Tell me about the Chiefs on your expectations here this coming year, and then let's talk Cardinals.
Let's just be conservative and say they go 12-4 and win the Super Bowl again. And that's conservative.
I'll take it, man. that brings conservative 12-4, but you usually make the playoffs 12-4 for sure. And then would it be 12-5 because they're playing 17?
12-5 now that they have 17, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Or maybe 13-4. But I'll take either one of those.
Well,
I'm sorry?
12-4-1. They got ties in the NFL. They don't do ties in the XFL. They need to fix that.
Well, more expert insight you're hearing from our buddy Sam Samadi. He is the STL Sports Guru, stlsportsguru.com. Thank you again for taking time out of your evening, Sam, to talk about this. So with that, let's jump right in here as we finish up. We'll talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. I do want to give a shout out to our Royals fans, our friends, some of my best friends, played for the Royals. Good friend of mine played for the Royals many years ago, made it up to AAA, played with Johnny Damon. And Mike Matheny had been coaching there for a number of years. I got to hang out with Ned Yost's son. Tilt your camera down just a little bit there, Sam. But I got to hang out with Ned Yost's son when I went to the All-Star game as a patron with an event that I got paid for with some of the sponsors I have. In 2016, San Diego, where Ned Yost was the American League manager for the All-Star game. So we love our Royals fans. We love the Royals. And we'd like to see another 70 series if both these teams can get hot this year. But Royals, Cardinals rolling now. Let's jump into what we talk about with the Cardinals. As we started off a little bit of discussion early on, where do they go from here, Sam, as we finish up?
As far as the Cardinals go, well, we got a lot of work to do. We're behind the 8 ball a little bit, but there's 152 games left, so that's on our side. Numbers are on our side as far as that goes. What I really want to dig into is Jordan Walker. Wow. The best prospect since Albert Pujols to come from the Cardinals. He has started off his career with a 10-game hitting streak at the age of 20. He just passed Ted Williams. Ted Williams had 9 games where he hit safely in to start his career at age 20. And now Jordan Walker is sitting second all time in the MLB record. There's a guy named Eddie Murphy in 1912 that hit in 12 straight games to start a career off. And but Jordan Walker tonight with his 10th consecutive hit, pretty amazing. He did it in his final at bat, I believe, or second to last at bat, and it did set a Cardinals franchise record for a rookie to start his career of any age.
Now that's exciting. You're talking about a guy who literally has lit the St. Louis baseball world on fire, if you will, because we've been looking for somebody like that to help replace the guys that have retired, especially in Albert Pujols, who left for a long time, came back last year, started off kind of slow, but finished with some real excitement and potential, and probably the hottest hitter for the Cardinals to finish up his career here in St. Louis last year. And after he retires, you're going, who do we have to fill the gap here? We got Arenado, we got Goldie, but do we have another real stud ball player that could, bring back those old golden days of 2006, 2011, like Albert Pujols? And that's where a guy like Jordan Walker has really turned it on, skipping AAA, heading straight to the big leagues. And I saw the clip where they announced to him in a private meeting, somebody had a camera in there and said, hey, you better record this because we're about to tell Jordan Walker he made the major league squad. And how exciting is that for a young kid? Is he 20 years old? I think he's not even old enough to have a beer with the guys after the game. But he is turning it on, and not just in a little way. Like you said, I didn't know some of those stats. I was there. I haven't missed a Cardinal game yet. I tend to not miss too many games. But I was there for his first at bat and his first hit. And then we all saw his first home run the other day. And pretty exciting to have that home run. It was right after Arenado hit a home run. That was his 300th. And then Walker followed up with a home run after I think O'Neill somebody got on base, and the Cardinals were down 4-0. And next thing they were tied 4-4, if I recall, that game a couple days ago against the Brewers. But man, Walker really turned it on. Talk more about what you expect from this guy long term and how you think he's going to help the Cardinals.
The guy's a beast. He's like 6'5" or 6'6", 240, 250. And I mean, if you listen to his interviews, he's like very well spoken. He's mature beyond his age. He's mature, like he has baseball high IQ. That's a big one. He's just athletically God-given talent. And not to mention, I mean, yeah, he's not the greatest defender, but he did change positions. He started out as a third baseman. He's playing a corner outfield. He's doing an admirable job. He's also he's on the top like 5 or 10 in sprint speed in Major League Baseball. Like he's super quick. So I mean, the guy's gonna be an icon, a legend. I'm gonna go ahead and go there. He's gonna be a St. Louis Cardinals legend. I don't know if he's gonna be he's probably gonna be a Hall of Famer. I mean, if as long as we sign him up long term and he doesn't have any catastrophic injuries, I don't see how this guy isn't a 300 hitter, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, MVP caliber player every year in the coming years. Not this year, but maybe next year and just 10, 12, 15 years out.
Well, I like what you're talking about because, like you said, the last time we saw a player that came onto the scene so exciting as what we've seen here was Albert Pujols. And a guy like Albert Pujols, to get anything close to what he did, obviously one of the best hitters in the history of baseball, spent most of his career as a Cardinal, most of his best years, obviously, as a Cardinal, and record-setting home runs, RBIs, hits, average, all the important stats you look for, and just a leader in the clubhouse, too, with somebody who really makes a difference. Somebody does a great job in the community, too, with his foundation and all of what he does to work with the kids in our community. Even coming back to St. Louis all the years when he was playing for the Angels, would still come back to St. Louis. I'd see him at the events, and I got to join in on some of that because he just puts on a great show and helps support the community. Jordan Walker now, big shoes to fill to have any kind of comparison to an Albert Pujols. I'll make a note as to what you said there with you talking about his arm. And now I did watch his arm sitting over there on the right field line, about halfway up, a little bit past first base, where we normally get our seats from our sponsors. And it was pretty exciting to see his hose. We call that, what kind of a hose? How hard? How can he bring it? And he had a couple throws that like went over. One throw I saw he had sailed over the catcher's head. Now it wasn't a deep throw from deep outfield, but he overthrew the catcher on the fly from probably 30, 40 feet past first base. And I know some of us are like, "Hey, get that online," and you got that guy thrown out. But it was encouraging to see somebody with such a strong arm. I didn't realize his previous position. I thought it had been a little bit of first base. Maybe it was third base as his primary position before. And now with that kind of an arm, well, he's showing that off from right field. Talk about how you think he's going to fit in.
I think he's going to be great. I mean, long term, you could definitely see a guy of his stature. If in Goldie eventually he's going to retire. I think slowly you see Walker go from being a left fielder, right fielder type guy, corner outfielder, to potentially a little bit of third base, but probably, a guy that's that big, probably a first baseman, a few years down the road. I mean, I think Goldie only has like, what, a year or two left. He's like 35 now. I'm sure we sign him to another extension. But at some point in time, I'm sure he makes the transition to save his body a little bit and be a first baseman. And the kid's got it all. I mean, I've been watching baseball for 40 years, and he's a can't miss. Glad we didn't trade him. I know everybody asked about him whenever we've brought up trade discussions with other teams. And Michael Gersh and John Mozeliak said he's untouchable, and they were smart in doing that. Wish they would have did that with Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen, but they didn't.
Yeah, there's a couple other big players that the Cardinals had in their system that we wish we would have kept because they're in the top 10 of the starting pitchers in the league. I think is that you're referring to. My buddy, other sports guru along the lines of almost as knowledgeable as you, Sam, is my buddy Sean Gaffney. He says, see these top 10 pitchers in the National League? 2 of them were Cardinals. And we traded them early on. And wouldn't it be nice to have both of those guys? But, hindsight is 20/20, as they say. But as we continue on, we've got a lot of excitement. So, Sam, thank you for joining it right here. I'm going to finish up by sharing with everybody. Everybody, give it up for Sam Samadi. He is your STL sports guru. You can find out more about him at stlsportsguru.com. And a lot of you got going on there and a lot of great insight you've got. And hopefully people will pick your brain a little bit to see that they can learn and be as knowledgeable as you are. I know I depend on you for a lot of feedback. I appreciate the late night texts, early morning texts, evening texts, weekend texts, giving me updates. And somebody that goes with me to a number of the games that I can lean over to go, what's the secret with this guy? What's this guy got going on? Hey, what do we expect from over here? Who's going to close for these guys? All that insight you seem to bring to the table, and we really appreciate you sharing that with us tonight on the Your Little Castle live stream sports review. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for having me on, Carter. I really appreciate it. It was great to talk my favorite passion, St. Louis sports.
You got it. And we got a lot of sports we talk about, even going as far as Midwest, because we love our Chiefs. We entertain some excitement with the Royals, but our Cardinals, Blues, St. Louis City, and we even talked about the Rams a little bit back in the day, but we love our Battlehawks. So with that, I'm going to jump into a couple little quick tidbits about our show and the sponsors that we've picked up. And just this is our own little thing. We're not really promoting anything here, but we just want to share some excitement that we've got going on. So thank you, Sam. I'm going to switch the camera over to me and share some of the other stuff we've got going on in our community. We appreciate you, buddy.
You bet, man. Have a good one.
All right, we'll talk soon. Give it up for Sam Samadi, everybody. STL Sports Guru, stlsportsguru.com. All right, Sam, we'll see you later, buddy. Get up.
All right.
So with that, I want to share with you guys a little bit more of the excitement with we did get some. Now, it is true that as the Cardinal Cowboy, we do try to do a lot of stuff fun in the community, work with a lot of organizations and charities. We're up over 200 charities I think we've worked with over the last 20 plus years or so. And it really just becomes something that we really wanted to espouse to help people understand that we are one big community and we're all trying to help each other. So one of the guests on our show turned around quickly and said, hey, we would like to make you the spokesperson for our company here in St. Louis. So that's Renner Garage. With that, I'm going to play for you a quick little clip, and then I'm going to show you one other quick interview we did, just kind of a brief snapshot from it, because I love these guys, and another leading business in our community, because when it boils down to it, we are all trying to find a place to spend our time to make a living, and the businesses are the ones that really support this community, that allow us to spend our time going down and watching the Cardinals games and watching the soccer games, the city games, the Blues, all that stuff. I don't want to leave anybody out. Battlehawks and Blues, because it's the sports, it's the businesses that really make the community work in any city, but especially here in St. Louis and throughout the Midwest. So with that, I'm going to press my little magic button here to start the video. I'm going to go with video number 1, and then we'll get to video number 2.
Renner, forward and back. Hey, it's the Cardinal Cowboy. Excited to share with you about Renner Garage Door. Spells the same thing, forward and backward. Renner. Formerly the St. Louis Door Company, Renner's been selling, servicing, and installing garage doors in St. Louis since 1966. So if you need to repair or replace your garage door or opener, Renner does that. So call Renner or check out their special deals at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, the garage door company that does. Giddy up!
So there it is, everybody, and we're trying to just kind of get through our quick little rendition of what we put together. But that is Renner Garage Door, and they have become a sponsor, and they reached out to me and said, hey, we got an idea, because we love what you stand for and what you're doing in the community to try to help, especially the kids that are, how many kids do we know that just don't get the resources that everybody else may have had, and I think sports is such an important part of what goes on in our community. And if these kids can get access to sports, I'll give a shout out to our buddies at St. Louis Sports Outreach. Billy and my buddies there, they just do a great job helping kids to get involved with sports, and just a dynamite organization. So we're going to do a little more of an alliance here between them. We're talking about getting some sponsorship money to throw over to some of those charities. I won't say specifically which, but you kind of just got a clue there. And I haven't even let them know that I'm pushing for that yet. But maybe you're hearing me talk about it. But that's what I was talking to them about. And we don't know yet if any of that's going to happen. But we're going to have a long discussion, because we're going to go to the Cardinal game Friday to talk about that, after we do our interview with them on our TV show, the Your Little Castle show that airs right here on St. Louis on ABC, and highlighting those leaders in our community, the ones that are making a difference, to do that with yours truly, who's the host, the Cardinal Cowboy, the host and producer of the Your Little Castle show. So with that, we'll jump into one little quick interview we had earlier today, and I had this little clip. We went out to visit one of our awesome sponsors that does a great job, and we took time to interview them and share a little bit about what they do as I visited their location. So this is M&M Golf Cars. So check out this little quick clip we made out of some of the excitement they've got up over there. Here it is, everybody. Oops. Let me go back. Oops, there we go. Let me get to there it is. And we're sharing our other screens that we have. You can see how the show works here. But yeah, here it is, video 2.
All right, everybody, today we're looking at a golf cart. We're getting one of these mini golf cars. Check it out. Oh my goodness. Holy manoli. Look at these. I could be having a party as I drive all around the neighborhood, the downtown, the uptown, everything. Let's check it out. M&M Golf Cars. See if my buddy Corey's in here. Here we are. Corey, how you doing, brother?
Good, sir. How you doing?
Good to see you, man. Hey, show me around this place. If I need to get a golf cart, this is where I was told I need to go.
You're in a great location. We're an exclusive club car dealer here in O'Fallon. M&M's been around for 40 years. We have 5 locations. This is one of our primary showrooms. We have some onwards. We have some used cars. Back in the corner, we have a Gorilla. This nice car back here is a Denmark luxury golf cart.
That's sporty. I like the color.
It's a really good color. Great for the coastline.
Yeah, especially you be out on the beach, whatever. Got it there. Now, how fast do some of these things go?
So club car, 20 miles an hour. The Gorilla will go up to about 25.
Okay.
But it has to be topped out at 20 for the club car.
Okay, so they put like a throttle on there to make sure you can't
They
go
do.
fast.
They do. This is going to be an LSV, so the low-speed vehicles can go 25, but everything else has to go 20.
Okay, no, that makes them safe and fun.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, tell me a little bit about some of the models you got here. I like this blue. This is kind of my color.
Nice blue onward, Georgia from Club Car. It's lifted. It's high performance, flood lead acid batteries. There's 6 of them in there. Great new model that Club Car has came out with.
Pretty slick looking, man. I love these things. You know, a lot of fun. They help create great recreation. The family can get along together. And is there a driving limit? Depends where you live, or how do they?
It depends on where you live. Most cities around town, it's the hot thing now. So they even make parking spots for them now, like the grocery stores and stuff like that. So really no limit. They're not made for the main streets out here, but neighborhood, you'll see them in the summertime all day.
Nice. All right. Well, show me a little bit more around here.
Yeah,
Corey is the sales manager up here.
Correct. So this area used to be our parts room, but now we've converted it to another showroom. Also, we displayed some of our accessories that Club Car has given us to put on the cars, from wheels to dash kits to steering wheels. So you can kind of customize these cars to your liking.
These are impressive. It looks like you have everything you could ever dream of when it comes to getting. And I know some of my buddies got these things, man. They get them all decked out. Here's some of your dashes and steering wheels.
Dashes, light kits for underneath, light kits for the roof. I mean, you could pretty much customize this car. The new cars, they kind of have some limitations on it, but the used cars like this one, I mean, we can paint it whatever color you want to paint it. We can deck out the rims however you want it. We've done a lot of Mizzou Tiger cars, so you'll see cars down there at the stadium all decked out. That's from Club Car, or from M&M, I should say.
You got some Cardinal red ones I could get if I need one.
We can definitely hook you up.
All right. So we got our parts department.
Parts department.
Is that Perry?
Perry is over here. He's our parts manager.
Hey, Perry.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
So he handles all the parts for the O'Fallon location. She's not here right now, but Caroline is our service person. She takes care of all the technicians and any customers that come in with a car that has issues. We hook them up and take care of them.
Everybody's allowed a 3-minute break, right?
Everybody pushing it, maybe 2.
2 minutes.
A
All right.
2-minute
Gotcha.
break.
All right.
You know, Army guys here, we don't know breaks. So,
I gotcha. All right.
if you want to come around here, we can.
Get to see what goes on behind the scenes here.
Behind the scenes.
This is like being an automotive.
Right.
You got everything, man. Batteries and parts and.
Correct. So instead of just sales, we take care of all the customers, either from consumer customers to business customers. We handle St. Louis Zoo, Anheuser-Busch, all the big names out there we kind of take care of as far as their fleet cars go. And then we got about 6 lifts out here for the mechanics to kind of work on the cars. Right now it's their 2-minute break. So
There you go.
won't see any mechanics right now.
No, we saw them a few minutes ago, and I came here to walk through. I'm wondering though, where do I get my flux capacitor installed? Would that be happen? That would happen.
That'd be here.
Right here, the flux
That'd be
capacitor,
right
everybody, so we can time travel.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys really have it together. You have an entire showroom, an entire service department, and man, it's really cool. Why do you love working here? What's the excitement here, man?
I love working here. It's a family-run company. The Miller family has been in the golf cart industry for over 40 years. Club Car started in about 1958. M&M came around about 1978. So we've pretty much been around just as long as Club Car has. And we're one of the premier Club Car dealers here in town. We won't sell anything else. We're diehard Club Car fans here. And again, family-run business. Those are hard to find nowadays. So we take care of our customers like their family.
Tell me a little bit about the brand. I mean, there's, I guess, different manufacturers. The Club Car is the one you prefer. You guys are exclusive.
So Club Car has been around since 58. The only one that has beaten us by time in the market is Easy Go. They've been around since the 50s, I think 1956. But Club Car is the only Club Car and only golf cart on the market that's aluminum frame. So great state of Missouri. We have all the weather. You'll never see one of these cars rust.
Gotcha.
We have tons of fleet cars and a lot of golf courses around town. They leave their golf carts out in all the elements. No rust. So that's a good thing about Club Car.
High quality, great looking machines here, man. I tell you, what's the most usage? I understand a lot of people, this is designed for golf originally, but now it looks like these people are using these more recreational around the house, cruise the neighborhood.
Exactly. I've been in the market or in the business for a few years now, and it's crazy to think that golf carts have been such a hot demand and hot commodity nowadays. I have personally really haven't sold to a lot of golfers. It's been family members, families wanting to come in, cruise around the neighborhood, take them up to the pool, and just have a good time around the neighborhood in the summertime. That's what we pretty much have a lot of our sales in. So it's a great summer activity to do to get out of the house.
Yeah, if somebody who says, and I need to get the kids stuff, the pool stuff, whatever I need, you can just load it up here in your golf cart and save yourself all that strain. Stress causes a lot of problems.
It does, and the good thing about that is if you and your wife or you and your husband want to go down to the pool, take some beverages, these new golf carts, their back seats, leave the kids at home, fold up, put your some chairs back here, and have a good old time. If you're hurting on stores for cooler, you can put a cooler right back here, put some ice in there, more storage, and beverage holder if you want to say.
Nice, all decked out. All right, I got to take a look. I was walking out the outside super machines you got. Tell me about.
Yeah, so the one over here is a 6-passenger Gorilla. Again, they've been around since 2005. Club Car just bought them last year, acquired them. Still based out of Augusta, Georgia. These are actually a low-speed vehicle, so these will go 25, fully electric, high luxury golf cart.
All right, and then the big machine over here, this got my attention.
Yes, this is the brand new Crew that Club Car has produced. Just came out this year. This is also a low-speed vehicle. This will go about 25 miles an hour, 30 horsepower. Has a picnic table in the back. You can turn it around. Good thing about this is you get to a spot with your family, driver. You pull down this lever, little latch here. Seat goes back. Now you're
lounging with the rest of the party.
Now you can join the party just like that. Again, these just came out this year. M&M Golf has sold a few of them so far. Not to toot my own horn, first guy to sell one for M&M. So.
Well, Corey, I know you're the sales manager. You know your stuff, and you've got a lot of happy clients that have made their life complete by getting one of these dynamite golf carts.
Yes.
This is beautiful. Finally, we got this guy, kind of a little more rugged. This is for out in the terrain a little bit.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a crossover. This is actually out of Arkansas. It's the Neighborhood NV. So you can use it for golf. There's a golf bag attachment you can put on there, but it's also a little rough UTV. Fully electric. They have 3 models. 2 of their models is lithium powered. This one here is actually flood lead acid, just like some of the golf carts you have inside. This will also go about 20 miles an hour, but this all is just touch screen powered. Turn signals. It tells you how fast you're going. Great vehicle. Sold a few of these. Yeah.
Well, you've got quite patient too. Check us out, everybody. We're right out here in O'Fallon, Missouri. Is this Bryan Road?
Bryan Road. We're off Highway 70 and Bryan Road next to St. Dominic High School and Rock and Jump.
Well, I saw the awesome baseball field right across the street there.
Yes.
And lots of fun in this area. Great location, easy to find, everybody. So take a minute, come out and check out. Say hi to my buddy Corey right here at M&M Golf Car. Very cool, buddy. All right, we'll be back for more. Giddy up. So with that, everybody, we hope you do enjoy a little bit of our excitement we have going on in the community. We're trying to highlight the businesses and the business leaders that do so, and try to help just make St. Louis the best city that it can and it is, and show it off to everybody on the interwebs here. So stay tuned for more as we continue. We appreciate all of your excitement and attendance with our long live streams here. This is kind of our first rendition here of a long stream, kind of covering the whole gamut for what we do with our mobile studio now that can take us just about anywhere. It's all powered off the power of a laptop, including our mixer and cameras and switchers and everything that we need. Even this light plugs into a USB, so we can really go anywhere with this. So invite us out to your business, your charity, your event, something going on with the community, and we will be part of the excitement, sharing what you do with the world. This is the Your Little Castle show where we highlight the leaders making a difference. Watch everything that we've got out there. We have we have thousands of videos out there, over 7,000 or so we figured out that we've posted over the years, and we want to continue to do that to make the world aware of all the good things that are going on. We'll talk to you again soon, everybody. Giddy up.